Our next guest is one of the youngest and most prolific young apartment brokers in Los Angeles. He does over $100 million in sales each year. He may be known as the Wolf of Brentwood, but as you know, here on the Introduction Podcast, we like to dive a little deeper than the surface. So without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce you to Michael Monempour.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Can I offer you a little bit of whiskey?
Yeah, 100%.
So you were just in Vegas kicking it?
Yeah, just hanging out, man. Just having fun, man. You know, I put some money on the games. Want some money.
Are you a big football fan?
For playoffs? Yeah, I like basketball more, but I like football too. You know.
Did you play basketball growing up?
Yeah, but not like in high school or anything. Just like recreationally.
Cheers, bro. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Man. I appreciate it, man.
Nah, dude, it's my pleasure. I'm actually excited to have someone like in the real estate game, especially like younger, successful, because like I feel like at least people that I know, and I've probably said this story a couple of times, but I didn't even know you could own apartment buildings, bro. Like growing, like when I graduated college.
Yeah.
So it's seeing people that like our peers kill it and be successful, and like, you know, you're buying deals and this, that, and the other. So it's cool to watch. So I wanted to have you on.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I wish I could live up to your interpretation of me.
Nah, trust me, you do. So
Good stuff right here.
you like it?
Oh yeah,
it's pretty
hell
smooth.
yeah.
It's like I've been liking Japanese whiskey lately.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. But this one is it's a little hickory smoky taste. I like it.
Yeah, they leave it in the barrel. I don't really know too much about it. I really tried to dive into whiskeys for a little bit.
Yeah, you're off the tequila, huh?
Like, to be honest, so I'll only really drink tequila, whiskey, or wine. But I wanted to be more sophisticated about it. But
Sure.
I can't buy in enough to be like, oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
you know, the oak and the this. I just it tastes good. It doesn't destroy you going down. So it's like,
If it tastes good, we're gonna have it. That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. Nice little standard right there.
Yeah, I try to act like I'm a little bit more bougie than I am, but I'm not at all.
Hey man,
Yeah.
same here.
So so what I like to do first, like on the podcast, is like introduce you for a quick second. So I'm just gonna introduce you to like the people that are gonna watch it, the viewers, this, that, and the other, and then we'll just get into it.
Okay, for sure. Sounds good.
All right, cool.
Is this mic good?
Yeah, the mic should be good.
Mic check 1, 2.
Mic check for Mike. Yeah, it's looking good. All right, so here on the Introduction Podcast, or here, let me do this. You may know our next guest if you're in the Los Angeles real estate game. Very, very well-known Los Angeles broker, young guy, hungry, grinds. I'm really excited to have him on. He's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of, you know, really interesting facts to share with us today. We want to talk about a lot of different topics. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Michael Monempour.
Hey, how are you guys? Chandler, thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate it, man.
My absolute pleasure.
It's good. I like how you're doing this.
Thank you. I needed an outlet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well, plug me up.
bro, seriously, like you could only cold call for so long.
Oh man,
you know?
it's just catches up to you. Get some miles on you.
Yeah. I mean, you've done it for how many years now?
Well, so it's year 7, man.
7.
We're on year 7 now.
Did you do it straight out of college?
Well, you know, originally during college, I worked at a telemarketing job. My really good friend, he got this, you know, gig with telemarketing, and it was commission-based job, and so I was really good at it, and you know, I kind of got this kind of like, you know, feel for being on the phones, and then I realized that, okay, well, if I'm good at this, then maybe I should try to do it with a high ticket type of an item, because, you know, the commissions on what we were selling was like, you know, a couple $1,000s, which was good, you know, but you look for your future, you want something more sustainable. So I got into the apartment building business in 2016. And so by the time I got into the business, I may have been a rookie, but my phone skills were more developed. So it's kind of like that scene in Wolf of Wall Street where he goes into like the penny stocks, and you know, he's like fresh out of Wall Street, like he's got the lingo, he's wearing like a nice suit, he's like where are your jumbotrons? And he's like, no, we just call it these pink sheets. So they put me in here, and they're like, okay, just my cousin was like, call this list. So I'm started calling, and people around are like, how long you been doing this for? I'm like, no, this is my first day. They're like, dude, you sound like you're from New York. Like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, over time. So it kind of picked up. It's just the law of numbers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's annoying, you get rejected a lot, which sucks. But if you kind of just stay on the course and, just don't give up, over time, it does work. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you know.
Yeah. So just so if people don't know, essentially what we do, and I'll have you like maybe shout out your brokerage too or whatever you want to do, but
Sure.
What we do, most of it's based on like cold calling. So we'll literally, like you said, essentially you have, your market area, which
Yeah.
is like a list of all the buildings in the area. So maybe you can walk like people through the exacts of the details of how you got started and what entails like calling and all this.
Sure, sure. So basically, the way it works is you got to be a specialist. So you got to sell one asset type or specialize in one asset type, particularly in one geographic area. So for me, when I started, it was West Los Angeles, Brentwood, Beverly Hills adjacent.
And you're selling apartment buildings.
Apartment building, so 5 units plus. So that's it. You don't do office, you don't do retail, you don't do homes, you don't do industrial. When somebody says, "Hey, you got this," you say no. You stick to what you do. So that's
so you can become a master at.
Yeah, you really have to be. I love this analogy. Brain surgeons don't operate on knees.
Bro, absolutely.
They operate on brains. So you got to operate on brains. So that's it. If it's not a brain, you don't touch it. So I always kind of stuck to that. So you stick into one area and one asset type, and then you got to learn the market, right? You got to see, okay, well, Mr. Rothschild, did you know that Mrs. Berger sold her property, on Bentley just a few blocks away from you? So you start becoming like a specialist, know what's sold, what's here, and it's a small type of business. But really what's going to separate you from the other people is, your likability, not giving up, doing it for such a long time, and really just immersing yourself in your area. And then when the need does come up, when you follow up, Mrs. Rothschild, okay, well, Chandler, I want to give you an opportunity. And then once you get the opportunity, you got to make sure, you do the things correctly. That's a whole different kind of...
Yeah. I like I see how you're good on the phones. You're smooth with it.
Well, I think you got to have tonality, because it's so funny, because now the young guys, they come to the office and they're like, hey, I want to pick your brain a little bit. How did you, what do you do? So I just kind of will say like, let me hear one of your calls. And they're like, what? And I'm like, just, let's role play. And so they'll say, I say, what do you say? I'm like, I'll be the seller. You pick up the phone. Like, call me. So they're like, okay, hi, is Michael there? I'm like, yeah. He goes, hey, Michael, this is so-and-so calling from so-and-so. Do you want to sell your building? Right off the bat, you want to get into that? Like, it's crap. You got to start off the call, have tonality, have finesse. Every jackass is calling these people 10 times a day. Well, what is it going to be that if you call them, how are you going to separate yourself? You got to call, and you got to, project a good voice. I have a little tactic that I do, is, high pitch, well, hi, is Chandler there?
Yeah, it makes you a little bit less like aggressive. Yeah,
more, kind of give a little bit of a, little bit of a difference. Put a little tone in there. Don't be so cheesy, no snake oil salesman, but have a little bit of a tone in there, and offer them something. Instead of asking them if they want to sell their building right off the bat, offer them something. Offer them, hey, did you know that this property was listed down the street from you? I thought you'd be interested in hearing about it. It's 10 units just like yours. Give them a golden nugget, just to get your foot in the door. And then you kind of segue strategically. Well, what did you think about your building? Did you ever think about doing anything? And then so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's funny. I have a guy that's working with me. He's like my junior. Yeah. And literally today he was like, we were talking. He's like, hey, trying to get tips on what he should do for his cold calling technique. And he started, when he started, he was in the management business a little bit. Yeah. And he had done a lot of work with like the eviction moratorium and all these different things going on. Yeah. And eviction moratorium is essentially after COVID, it's it keeps owners from being able to evict their tenants within certain stipulations, and we can go into that later. But he was like, how should I cold call these people? And I'm like, well, something that you have a lot of knowledge in is, when it comes to eviction moratorium,
Yeah.
and you had started a lot of like different trials, and you taken people to court for not paying rent, and dealt with, so you can go into detail about this stuff. So offer them a piece of that information, something that you're good at. And he was like, man, now all his calls are like booming. Today, he was like, it was a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's three things you got to do when you're on the phone. Number one, you always have to give them something. Got to give them something, not ask for their buildings. That's number one. Number two is you got to make it seem like your time is really valuable. People don't want to work with someone that's just going to talk to them for 45 minutes. Like, this guy doesn't have anything to do. So just kind of create a sense of urgency, but don't be so aggressive and pushing. And then three is you got to close. I mean, you got to ask for the meeting. We're not calling to talk about the price of tea in China.
Yeah.
It's like you got to ask for the meeting. Otherwise, what the hell was the point of calling? You have to shoot your shot. And Michael Jordan, he always says, I missed more shots than I took. I never made a shot that I didn't miss. That's just what it is. You got to take as many shots as you can. So,
yeah, and this is a business too. It's funny. I've talking to a lot of guys were people that were athletes growing up and in college and stuff, coming into the business. I feel like a great segue, because when you're playing sports, you're used to getting denied whatever your goal is consistently.
Yeah.
And in this business, it's really mentally taxing, because day in and day out, you're getting denied so much.
Yeah.
So are you just one of the guys in the business that's kind of crazy, and you're into the denial and you keep going after it, or what keeps you going?
Well, you got to be a little crazy to be in this business, right?
You really do, seriously.
Well, what I did was I kind of created like this, kind of like a alter ego type of, Michael the broker, so that, when the rejections would happen or the deals wouldn't get done, it wasn't necessarily me they were rejecting. Because I see it, I see people, they're just so sad.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily me they were rejecting, because, you're picking up the phone all day, you're calling, and you're getting rejected. And it could be really mentally just taxing, like you said, on the mind. So I kind of created this alter ego that, okay, they're not rejecting me. They're rejecting Michael the broker. It has nothing to do with me. Can't take it personally. And then that way, mentally, I'm able to kind of more just kind of stay in my lane, put the goggles on, tunnel vision, and just, kind of just keep going.
Mm. Did you always have brokerage in the realm of what the possibilities were for you?
Actually, no, man. It's a great question. No, I never did. I always said I'm not going to be a broker. I just felt like, I don't know, it wasn't me. It kind of happened so fortuitously because after college, I went to go into financial services. So I learned about like how like the financial system works, wills, trusts, estate planning.
It's huge.
Yeah, just about money in general. I learned about like everything about how like the monetary system globally works. But then I realized I hated this. So I said, okay, like I got to do something that like I'm good at. I got to follow. Mark Cuban had this quote. I love this quote. It says, "Don't follow your passion, follow your effort."
Mm.
When you follow your effort, when you're good at something, you become passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point I was pretty broke, living in my parents' house, had nothing but $2,000 to my name. So when I got into the brokerage business, it was like, okay, I'm going to get in this business. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to become really good at it. And then I want to start buying my own deals. So that was like my whole game plan going in. I began with this kind of goal in mind. So, as I was grinding every day, and believe me, there was days that I just, you've been there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm paying my dues. I got to pay my dues. Because eventually, in the long run, what I'm doing, this shit is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I better work.
Mm-hmm.
So, I never gave up. That's all it was, really.
Mm. No, I agree with you. Because, it's funny. Tony, who I used to work with,
We love
best,
Tony. He's great.
One of the best in the game. Absolutely. He'll even say, it's not an incredibly hard business in terms of what we do, but it's really hard to stick with it and be consistent because that mental aspect. But so I actually have a two-pronged question for you.
Shoot.
So the first is, and I've noticed, especially recently, a lot of people our age are starting to think about, hey, should I get into real estate? I'm thinking about buying this, that, and the other. So for someone, if you could look back on yourself, no real estate experience, how would you guide not only someone that's just looking to, on the outside, buy real estate and be an owner and make money that way? Because you own deals, you buy deals, right?
Sure.
How would you guide that person into stepping into the owner space? And then on the other end, how would you guide someone that's looking to get into brokerage? What would be some guidance that you have for those
I
people?
think both of them are the same. At the end of the day, they need a mentor. They need someone that's going to teach them what not only to do, also what not to do. So I think for someone looking to buy a deal, they can't just go in there, blind. I mean, they're going to have to need some sort of a guidance, someone to teach them. And then for brokerage, also it's the same thing. You want to have a mentor because, let's say you cold call, you get a lead. Well, you're not going to know what to do if you go to the meeting, and they're not going to want to work with, someone, that just doesn't know what they're doing just because they look good in a suit and, they want to know that they're in good hands. So I think in everything in life, you need to have someone or, you need to have a mentor, someone guide you up, show you the ropes a little bit. That's what I would say kind of as a, just a basic element. But also for deals to kind of hone in on it a little more vividly, unfortunately, it kind of hurts me to say it. I would probably tell them to stay away from apartment buildings right now. I just feel like the landscape, the rhetoric of apartment buildings today, more than ever, this agenda is so anti-landlord and so pro-rent control. I don't even know how somebody can make money. I mean, you could buy a building and, 6-unit building, and all 6 tenants could just go together and say, hey, you know what? We're not going to pay you. You're not the property owner. You're the property manager. The tenants have more rights. So I probably would tell them to stay away from apartments for now, unless they found, peculiar opportunity that just, looked really good. But it's kind of sucks to say that,
As a broker, right? Because you understand on the side of the tenant as well as the landlord, right? What would you say is, or first off, actually just opening it up in case people don't understand kind of, what's going on with like the eviction moratorium and why you have the thought that, that it's really tough to be a landlord and the, tenants have the power. Can you explain that thought a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So basically, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, County of Los Angeles has imposed very strict, laws and given certain, I should say they've given a lot of slack to tenants, and they've allowed the tenants the ability to not pay rent. They could be driving a Maserati and having a $300,000, fixed year income, and if their rent is, $3,000, and they could essentially, be let off the hook, and all responsibilities on the landlord, which I think is very unfair. Because the landlord has to pay, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, also has to pay a mortgage. So it's honestly, it's just not fair. I think certain people definitely should have that kind of break for not paying rent. The low income families, people that actually have hardship, but unfortunately, it's allowed certain people that don't meet that criteria to also, not pay. And so that's just, it's very black and white.
No, there's a big lack of infrastructure on that end. Definitely.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think it's it is what it is at this point. What are you gonna do? You can't really do much about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So as a broker in the current climate, how do you navigate? Because you're still doing business, you're still very successful, what are you doing, like 100 million in sales, every year type thing?
It was about 95 last year, but it's okay.
So you see what I mean? So you're killing it and you're doing your thing. How are you able to navigate these choppy waters so smoothly? What tips do you have for?
Well, it's not so smoothly. It's harder than before. I was telling my junior broker, I said, listen, man, we've been working in a 3% interest rate environment, our entire career. Now that the interest rates are 6%, and for those of you, that's a big it's double the interest rate of what it was. So now, we really have to be really picky and really meticulous with the certain things that we list because we don't get paid by the hour. So right now, what I'm looking at are, non-rent controlled properties built after 1978 under state AB 1482 rent control.
Which says
Well, you can raise the rent. Those you can raise the rents 10% every year, as opposed to the buildings before 1978 you can't. So we're looking at that, and really just below replacement costs. So if a property, apartment building that let's say it's 20-unit apartment building, call it 20,000 square feet, and cost to build that was $10 million, and if we can do that deal for $7.5 million. We'll go after that because I'll have buyers like, oh, that's below replacement cost. We'll buy that because at the end of the day, everything is temporary, and this economy, this climate in Los Angeles, this too shall pass. So for right now, that's what I'm doing is try to find opportunities that a year ago, guys like you and I go, oh my God, this is coming.
Insane.
Those are all coming out there now,
Yeah.
out of the woodwork. So there's a lot of buyers that would still take that. I say no a lot today, and my junior broker gets mad at me. There's certain deals he's coming. Let's bring this at 19 GRM. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
Give that to somebody else.
I agree with you. I feel like, and I'm newer in the business than you, but thankfully, I was working with Tony, and I got to learn a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And that was something that he taught us early on. Was like, look, if you want to have a career in this business, you don't want to be known as the guy that's expiring listings, not being able to sell what you're bringing to the market. And I think it's more important than ever now that we're picky.
Oh yeah.
If we want longevity.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I think for those of you, I think you worked for. I don't think there's anybody better than him.
Yeah,
I think you got a once in a lifetime, experience working with him.
I agree with you.
He's highly revered, and
He's actually going to be on the pod.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm going to have him on pretty soon. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That'll be really interesting. He's just a really dope guy too. He's just so cool. James Bond type.
Yeah, it's nobody is a better talker than him. He can relate to anybody. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he's a very likable guy, and he's been doing it for so long, and it's hard. 30 years been doing it for him?
Yeah, 35.
My goodness. Shit.
I'm not trying to be in it for 35. I'm trying to buy a few deals.
Take it easy, man.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, what do you see? What's your end goal if there was one?
Well, right now, I'm building a few properties right now, so I just can't do the whole rent control thing. I just can't do it. I can't stomach it. So I'm fortunate. I have my partner and my best friend since I was 7 years old. He's a builder. So what we're doing right now is we're actually building townhomes, and we're keeping them for rent. And I think the townhome product, I believe in it so firmly because, not to say it's recession proof because I hate that word, but it's flexible. I can have a townhome where it's about 1,800 square feet, 3 bedrooms. You can rent that to a family, or you can rent that to 3 young individuals such as ourselves. So it's a different kind of a matrix. It's a hybrid. We don't go underground, so from start to finish, we'll be in and out. Once we break ground, 10 months.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, it's like building a house. It's really just slab on grade. So no underground, just foundation, framing, stucco, drywall, electrical. So it's very, kind of fluid, and the returns are great. So I like it. I've done 2 of them that we've sold, but the rest of the batch that I got right now, I'm going to be looking to keep. And the end goal, I don't know, maybe I have a couple hundred of them.
I like that. I mean, well, even if you think of townhomes too, especially as people are getting priced out of being able to own a home, you're probably going to have, an even bigger tenant base because of that.
It's kind of crazy. Think about it. $1 million home. If you want to go buy a $1 million home today, couple, and I'm talking about a 1950s, 1960s home, regular home, call it $1 million, let's just say, right? You got to put 20% down. That's 200 G's. get a mortgage for 800 grand. Rates today are 6%. You know, let's say you did get an interest only. That's about 50K right there. You got
Yeah.
property taxes. That's another $1,000 a month. You got insurance. You're in this thing for close to $7,000 a month for a $1 million home. Now, if you add that principal and interest on it, you're close to 10,000. Why go put 200,000 down, live in a janky home? You can't even get a nice home for $1 million in LA anymore. But why do all that? Instead, you could go rent a brand new townhome, 2022, washer dryer, rooftop deck, 2 parking spots, 1,800 square feet. You know, brand new for 4,500, 5,000.
Yeah.
Right?
It's, you know, the tough part is like, if you want real freedom, you got to own that.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people in our lifetime, because of how everything's situated, are going to have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it is a tough one. It's like, for instance, you know, just to break down kind of the terms you used, for instance, interest only is when you're making payments on your mortgage, just the interest for, you know, a allotted period of time. Principal and interest is if you're making payments, you know, you're paying down the loan as well as paying the interest at the same time. It builds equity faster, yada, yada. So maybe you can kind of talk about, in this climate, let's say you have someone that, you know, is young like us, they're like, look, I know it's going to be tougher. You know, how do you leverage what we have in this current climate, buying, you know, a building or a home and try to make money as we are right now?
Well, for both answers, for both questions, I should say, maybe try to add some value to it. You know, if you're going to buy a home that's done up to the studs and you're going to pay top dollar, you know, in the average price per square foot in the area is, $1,000 a square foot, and you're going to pay $1,000 a square foot. Well, it's going to be kind of hard to make, you know, that kind of money, especially, you know, where things are kind of trending downward right now. So I would say maybe try to buy something for $800 a square foot, and, you know, maybe add some value to it. You know, redo the kitchen, redo the bathrooms, you know, put a little paint on it. So that way, you know, you're kind of in the $1,000 range comps, but you bought it for $800 a foot. You maybe put $75 a foot, so you have that $125 a foot delta. So I would say that for a home. For apartment building, I would say the same thing, right? You know, try to add value. You know, try to get the tenants out if you can. Maybe go there and do some cash for keys. Cash for keys buyouts is when you go to the tenant, say, hey, listen, I know you're under rent control, but, you know, here's $15,000. You know, go somewhere else. And
What does that buyout do for the owner when, you know, can you explain how you get a bump in equity essentially?
So, you know, let's say it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit in West Hollywood, right? Let's just say Orlando and 3rd.
Not a bad location.
Yeah, not bad at all. We all know where that is. So let's say it's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, it's 1,000 square foot unit, and they're paying, $1,500. You know, so the market rent for that unit is probably close to somewhere between $3,000 and $3,500, right? So it's about a $1,500 to $2,000 delta per month for that unit. So as the owner, if you can get that tenant out for 15, 20, shit, even 30,000, maybe spend another 20,000 fixing it up. Let's say you paid them $30,000 and you paid 20,000 fixing up the unit. Well, you're in that unit for, 50 grand. But you raised the rent to, call it $3,000, right? So you increased the, net monthly cash flow, like 18 grand. Well, what that does to the building, it probably raised the building value like $250,000. So it really cost you 50, but you made plus 200 on the back end. Because when you go and you want to pull out the money for the refinance, you'll get that money back. So it's worth every dollar.
Yeah.
And I never understood owners that don't do that. It's like, then you're in the wrong business, man. I don't know what to tell you.
You know, it's funny. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like a lack of knowledge. Because, look, a majority of owners that we're speaking to are mom and pop, maybe 3, 4 buildings, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them usually don't have the money to pay that extra, 25 grand, 15 grand. They're making ends meet owning their 7-unit.
Paid off,
literally paid off. And like it's crazy because there are so many avenues that people have in order to make money and leverage their real estate.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things where knowledge is that barrier, that difference.
Oh, 100%.
So, and you said that you offer something. to your owners,
Sure.
you know, when you're speaking to them.
Yeah.
And obviously knowledge is a huge piece of that.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think that's what like sets you apart. You're very knowledgeable, right? You attack, right? You're obviously good at what you do. You understand the game. But even now, tidbits of knowledge, the honest knowledge.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you say that. I am knowledgeable. I think it's important. You know, you want to be the best, so you have to know what you're doing. You know, and you have to separate yourself somehow. But even that, I mean, there's a lot of people offering knowledge on the phone too. I mean, you really got to go the extra mile. I feel like what really separates the best brokers from, well, the great ones and the good ones, I should say. And I don't consider myself, you know, a great one. I mean, I'm not yet. I got a long way to go.
95 mil.
Look, but what you know, hopefully, you know, one day I strive to, you know, to get up there. But what really separates those guys, man, or those girls even, is that, you know, their relationships that they formed and their broad knowledge of, you know, just knowing everything to the T. I mean, they're such masters in their craft. You know, they've seen it, they've done it, and, you know, they're honest, they have integrity, they are who they are when nobody's looking, and they're able to, you know, effectively give advice, you know, without having some ulterior kind of a motive. And then the owner could just, you know, see, okay, well, this guy's got relationships, you know, he's been doing this a long time, and he cares, or she cares. You know, that's what really ultimately what separates, you know, the great ones and the good ones is that they really care. Is you got to put the client first, and, you know, being genuine. It's never cliche, man. It's never gonna go out of touch. I think if you're genuine, people could tell.
I agree with you.
You know?
I 1000, especially in a business where there's a lot of opportunity to not be genuine, and there's a nice paycheck on the other side of something that's not, you know, extremely kosher, you know?
Sure.
And like you see a lot of people in the business fall to that like temptation and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But those are the same guys that aren't around for a long time.
Yeah, you win the battle, but you lose the war, man. It's small-minded thinking. Definitely, you know.
Yeah.
It's
I agree
not
with you.
really something that we should ever, you know.
Delve into.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's another thing I learned from Tony. It's like straight shooter. of a guy.
Reputation, man. Reputation. You got to guard it with your life. You know, it's everything is the most important.
So okay, let's take it back a little bit.
Sure.
So, are your parents like in real estate or anything, or
Oh no, not at all.
what's the vibe there?
Well, no, I retired them now. They're not working anymore. But no,
You retired your parents.
Oh yeah, that was a goal of mine.
Cheers to that. That's awesome.
Cheers. Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, it was. I grew up pretty poor, man. I grew up on welfare. You know, not many people know that, but, you know, we grew up really poor. Me, my mom, my sister, my dad. We lived in a one-bedroom, so, you know, 4 of us in one bedroom. They immigrated from Iran, so, you know, I learned at a very young age that we didn't have money, and I just kind of knew that. You know, it's just like it's very evident. You know, you can't have a bar mitzvah like everybody else. You're not gonna get a car. You're not gonna get, you know, no $200 allowance every week. You know, you're not gonna get, you know, PlayStation 3. You're just not gonna have those things.
Yeah.
Don't ask for it. If you want to come to the store, you want to help at the store, you know, maybe you get a little money. Otherwise, you know, you got to go. So I learned that at a very young age, and, you know, as I got older, just little things that were driving me. It was just something that was driving me really hard. Was that one day, you know, my parents worked so hard for me. They did everything for me. They immigrated from another country to give me and my sister, you know, a life. So I have to repay them somehow. So now, you know, I don't want them to work. Just take it easy. You know.
That I feel like that's the goal that a lot of us are shooting for.
You know, so we owe it to our parents.
Absolutely.
Right? We have to. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for it, by the grace of God. You know.
Bro, that's dope.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
Man.
so dope.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank
I never knew you retired your parents already. That's so crazy.
you. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's. I just got sick and tired of watching them work.
Yeah,
You know,
I
I
understand
just
that.
was tired of it. It's like, okay, you don't have to work anymore. It's like, take it easy, just relax. You know, my sister has kids. You know, just go be with the kids. Go be grandparents. My parents are a little bit older. My dad's 70 now. So, I feel like he shouldn't be working anyways.
Yeah.
At that point, it's kind of just take it easy.
Yeah. That's sick. So it's only you and your sister growing up.
Yeah.
Is she older or younger?
Yeah, my sister's older than me. She's 38 now. Yeah.
How old are you? Like,
I'm 30. I'm about to be 31 in 3 more weeks, man.
good. Oh,
Getting
early
old,
birthday.
man. Shit.
You still look young though. So
I'll take it.
that's good.
I feel young too.
I mean, well, you work. I see you at the gym all the time.
I see
You're
you. This
active.
guy's LeBron James out there. I see. You should see this guy.
Yeah.
He's doing pull-ups. Oh my god.
I appreciate that. No, but
But yeah, we have to. We get one body. We have to take care of it. You got to watch what you eat and work out. I feel like it's like your duty to yourself, to be physically and mentally fit.
yeah, especially. I mean, bro, you're sitting in the office all day, sitting on the chair, you're stagnant and not moving. It's like I feel so important to get out and do something.
Yeah, believe me, I paid the price. I burnout. You don't want to burn out.
Yeah.
And I was getting to a point like 2019 where like I was working like 12 hours a day, and I was just obsessed. I just couldn't stop. I was sick in the head. I just kept wanting to just work, be in the office like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and I started noticing I had like this little like pain like in my abdomen. So whatever, like 3 months went by. I'm like, still got this little thing here, and like, so I went to get it checked out, and they're like, you have an ulcer. Yeah, man. And the doctor was like, it's funny. The doctor, he actually, he's in the multifamily business. It's Dr. Silver, and he's like, I hear you on the phone. He's like, I just want to let you know what you're doing to yourself. You're probably making money, but it's not worth your health. He's like,
Yeah.
you need to take a step back. So that kind of hit me, man. So that was 29. So I started traveling a lot.
Yeah,
So I kind of lowered the workload since then. Never, still working hard, but not like that hard. But I'm enjoying myself. Thank God, it's gone. Took care of it. Took the proper precautions. But been traveling more, enjoying life, just taking it easy, man. Just not really, being so, obsessed in my mind. Like, it's okay if shit doesn't work out. Whatever, man. You need to get the next one. It's important to kind of take a step back, breathe in, and notice that, because
balance.
It's not worth your health, man. It really isn't. Health is too much of a price to pay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Is that kind of all you're doing to like balance your lifestyle right now? Just like working out, traveling.
Well, I do a lot of yoga.
I just got into yoga actually.
Oh man, it's great. It's great. It's really good. It's good for the mind. I like to read. Reading is great. Also, just some stretching at night, eating good food. What I also been doing, I've been having this juice. My friend put me on it, and it's like pineapples with cucumber, ginger, lemon juice, water. Put it in a blender, and then like you blend it, and then you take the pulp out, and you just extract the pure juice. And I have it before I go to bed, and it's just so like just detoxifies everything in the body. I have it every night before I go to bed.
It sounds good too.
It's great, man. It's really good. I actually had it before I came here.
A little spice up.
Yeah, a little tune up. Put a little oil in the engine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just taking it easy. Yeah.
Ooh, that's dope. That's dope. So, would you say at this point, like you've aside from monetarily, right? Because you've retired your parents. It sounds like.
Yeah, I'm retiring myself though.
Well, I mean, I don't see you retiring anytime soon. I feel like you're one of those guys that's just gonna keep going.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate to love what I do, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I mean, I'm only 31 years old, so there's a lot more that I want to do.
So I was gonna ask that. What else is there? Like, what's outside of just the monetary goals that you have?
Well, I do want to travel more. I want to see pretty much all over the world, but also I want to give back. I want to underprivileged youth, be a part of that in some way, make an impact for those underprivileged kids. And my partner and I, Michael Shlomoff and I, we talked about it. Is maybe building like a community center. We haven't really discussed the intricacies of it yet. It's a thought, but that's something that eventually that I do want to do for sure. Something completely out of an altruist, just altruistic, not expecting anything in return. You know?
You're in speaking. I don't. In case you don't want to talk about it, but religiously too, it's part of the Jewish religion. Give back without expecting anything in return.
Yeah, yeah, no, it definitely is, definitely, and in our religion, it actually says, and it's kind of crazy. Um, it's true, man. I swear to God, it is true. If you give back, if you donate, God says in the Torah, you'll get back times 10. So if you give 100, you get 1,000, and it worked. Like, I could sit here and say like it's never like not worked, but I don't do it for that. I'm not gonna like go. I'm gonna go donate $10,000 so I can make
So I can get that-
100,000.
yeah.
No, you got to do it without giving anything in return, out of a complete altruistic, not an ulterior motive. But it really does work, man. I mean, it's real.
No, it's one of those things. I believe it. It's like even if you take your step out, like for someone who's not Jewish, right? In life, I feel like every time I've attacked something or gone at something in a very genuine manner, something positive has always come back from it.
Sure.
So I can see that being able to translate the same way.
Yeah, I think karma is a real thing. I think it's a real thing. I think energy is a real thing. Like there's certain people that just have really good energy, and then they uplift others. And then conversely, on the flip side, there's people that just really have bad energy.
Yeah.
And they're just like miserable all the time. And they just misery loves company. And like, so I feel like, karma, giving back, it's like you're making a deposit in your, social self and your spiritual and higher self. And that creates some sort of an inertia, and it translates like an ether into the world. Like,
No, I definitely
not to
agree.
get all freaky about it, but
No, I agree with that. I mean, the energy that you put out is gonna attract back to you.
100%,
Yeah.
for sure.
Are you picky with the people that you surround yourself with?
Yeah. I've been having a lot of vitamin N.
What's that?
Vitamin No. Yeah. Yeah.
Got me.
I just my time is very valuable. I mean, time is the most important asset you don't own. So how you spend your time determines your value. And so there's certain people that I don't want to spend my time with. And then there's people that I just genuinely just love and I just want to spend my time with. So I try to spend my time with those people.
Yeah. No, absolutely. As I've gotten older, it's like it's a lesson that continues to ring so true. Like every time I do something, then I'm like, why did I do that? What? It just like,
Yeah, and when you were younger, it was different, but now you have more responsibility and more, onus on yourself. So I think it's important to kind of surround yourself with. I think it's very important to surround yourself with the best people possible. Having a good supporting cast of people that have your back, and it's so hard in LA,
bro. Absolutely.
Los Scandalous. It's really hard in Los Angeles, but there's good. There's definitely good people around. You just gotta.
Growing up here, was it hard for you to navigate? Because I feel like being an implant in LA, that's what I am, right?
Sure.
Most of the people that add to the negative connotation that LA has are people that are implants.
Sure.
That came here, looking to be the star of whatever it is that
Right.
they're looking at, but a lot of the people that I met who are from LA are the most genuine people that I've met in LA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's I think you hit the hammer on the nail with that one. A lot of people that come to LA, they just think it's they're in for a reality check, and it's also hard with the girls, single girls. I've seen it like pretty much my whole life. They come here from I don't know, London or Australia or Europe or even like places like New York, and they come here and they're just like they're alone and like you hear it like I don't have the family, I didn't grow up here. You guys have your friends here, and they meet people and they get screwed over. So it's tough, but you got to surround yourself with those good people because unfortunately LA has there's like the whole club scene, the Hollywood scene, and that's just trash, man.
How are you like in the dating scene? Like, are you?
I mean, I'm dating.
Do you want to have kids or anything? Like,
Yeah, of course. I want to have kids. Yeah, for sure. I want to have kids. And I'm not anytime soon, but it definitely, it's a goal. That's for sure. I would love to have kids. I love kids. Kids are I love my nieces.
Yeah, I was gonna say I always see you post your nieces.
Yeah. I love kids, man. You know, kids are my favorite thing in the entire world. So definitely, you know, go to my son or my daughter's game and be yelling.
Yeah.
Don't touch my daughter.
Yeah, I literally see you on the sideline being that dad.
Ref.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. So,
What about you? You want to have kids?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
bro. The only reason that I do like anything that I do is to set myself up to be like a good dad one day.
That's great, man.
You know
That's
what I mean?
great.
So,
You'd be a great father too.
I appreciate that. I think the same for you.
Yeah. We both be good fathers.
Yeah.
That's the goal at the end of the day. You want to have a legacy, and you know, you get tired of the same things. You know, having kids is beautiful, but you just can't go into it saying, I just want to have kids.
Oh no.
That's where I feel like a trap is laid.
Yeah.
Especially in my community, the Persian Jewish community. I feel like a lot of people just do things just to do it.
So how do you navigate those waters? Because I understand the Persian Jewish community is very traditional, right? How do you navigate those waters, you know, with the pressures of like, hey, get married, have a kid, and all these different
There are no
things?
pressures.
So how are you navigating that?
I'm navigating my own waters. I'm not navigating anyone else's waters they put on me. I don't necessarily feel I belong to one specific class.
Which is a hard thing to do, I can imagine.
I mean, honestly, I'm living my life. I paid my dues. I want to live my life. I don't need to live by a set of standard someone else puts on me. Then you say I need to be in this community or this, realm. Obviously, I'd like to, marry Jewish. For me, that's important, and that's a value of mine because I want my kids to be Jewish. In Jewish, laws, the mother has to be Jewish. So that's something that's important for me. But, my parents know, and they're like, you do you, you're smart, you take care of yourself. When you're ready, you're ready. But ideally, they want me to get married. They want me to have kids. But I feel like my time will come when it comes, when that right person comes.
So you have a more methodical outlook on it.
Definitely, yeah. I feel like it's the only way to have. Because then if you're just like, succumb to this rules and this set of expectations, it's just like, ugh.
You know what? It's funny because my buddy, one of my close friends, was dating a girl who's Persian Jewish, and they were, getting to the point that, like, unfortunately, honestly, it's always a sad thing when people break up, but they unfortunately broke up. And it was kind of one of those things where it was like, she was like, hey, we're either going to get married or it's not happening.
Yeah.
And
expectation.
Well, yeah,
yes,
expectation. But what's funny is I feel like if you buy in, right, if it works for you and you buy into the traditional values and views and way of life, I feel like life becomes a lot more simplified in terms of finding someone that wants to operate the same way. Whereas, like, let's say you're not tied to the same religious values. Let's say you're not tied to the same, like, upbringing, and, you're going to be around family, and what are we doing for holidays?
Sure.
Shabbat dinner.
Sure.
And, there's so many nuances, so many things.
Sure.
So, like, I do see the positive in devil's advocate wise.
Right.
Obviously,
No,
I'm not Persian Jewish.
No, I hear you.
But, I do see the positive, but I also, especially in my life, I'm like, hey, I want to create and build what I want to build. That's not necessarily exactly what my mom wants.
Right.
Not exactly what my grandparents.
Yeah.
But I've taken these positive things that I've learned throughout my life, and, I'm able to create something that works exactly for me.
Sure.
Sure. So I do, like, in terms of the ideal way to live, I guess especially because I live that way, I assume that's the best. But I can see the beauty in that traditional realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a case-by-case basis. I think that if two people make each other inherently better, I don't know the situation with your friend, but I'm sure, he had his reasons for not wanting to commit. But if the shoe fits, and all the boxes are checked.
Step in it,
yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
And if some of my friends are getting married now, and they say, she's the one. She's the one. You can't dispute that. Just be happy for the man.
Yeah. Honestly, if we're going to get on the topic, I don't necessarily believe in, like, the one, to be honest with you.
I agree, man. I think there's like three.
Yeah, I feel like
3 or 4,
because there's
maybe?
so many people,
Maybe 5.
bro. I mean, who knows? Like, really,
Maybe
really,
100. I don't know. I'm
literally.
just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, but like, in the sense of like, there are probably so many people out there.
Yeah.
Like, look, and I have a girlfriend right now, and
Sure.
and I hope everything works out.
Sure.
So we get to just
Amen
continue
to
to
that,
skate
man.
off. I appreciate. You want a refill?
Yeah, I can't say no to you.
Yeah. Top off. Pause.
That's perfect. Thank you, Chad.
But yeah, no problem. But again, like I said, hopefully we get to continue to skate off into the sunset. But I do feel like someone out there could make her extremely happy in a way where she could live her life and be fulfilled. And it's not only me, and vice versa. And you see what I mean?
I agree. I think you're 100% right. I think you're 100% right. It's kind of a scary thing, too.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing to think about.
Because, like, damn, like, what else is out there? But I guess if she makes you happy and, you see a future with her, she's one of many potential candidates then you could probably put in your mind. But, yeah, I feel like it's to say that she's the one, or for anyone to say that person is just the one, it's that one of one, that's how they feel. I mean, I guess it's a beautiful thing to feel that way. If you feel that way, it's great.
Yeah, I guess I feel like some one off of the one. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I just like. Again, I mean, I don't want to speak too soon. I don't even put it out. But I mean, I don't know. I'm probably marrying my girlfriend.
Man, she's watching this? She's gonna watch this?
I don't know who's gonna watch, but just realistically. But I'm
Hey,
just
I'm happy
saying.
for you, man. That's great news.
No, I appreciate
That's
it.
a
I mean,
that's
look,
a big step.
I'm not in a rush.
Take
I'm
it
in
easy,
no
man.
rush. Yeah, take it easy. I'm in no rush. But just like, our lives, I love our life together, all these different things. But I'm one of those people, I just feel like in the scope of how big the world is, it's
Right.
like,
It's crazy.
there's other, like, you know what I mean?
I know, and it's like it's also crazy, like when you're traveling and like you go somewhere and you meet someone, like you have like your little fling with them. It's like,
It's
gotta
spicy.
We gotta go now. Like,
Yeah.
nice to meet you, but it's like what could have been type thing. That's a crazy thing too. You never know if you lived somewhere besides Los Angeles, how would your life be?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Bro, traveling does that to you.
It does. It opens up a lot of barriers, opens up a lot of doors in your mind. I really think it's the most beautiful thing in the entire world. And it really was, and not to go off topic, but COVID kind of taught me that.
Really?
Yeah, because in 2019, I traveled 2 places. I went to, I went to Europe, and then in the December, that was in summer, and then December, right before COVID, I went to Australia. So I went, I took 2 big trips. So then, a month later, we're 2 months later, whenever the world shuts down. So I'm like, damn, I'm so happy I did those 2 trips right before the world shut. Because, we were thinking we may not ever get to do this again. There was a short period of time. We may not ever get to do this again. So whenever, like, everything opened back up, it was like, I want to take advantage of this as much as possible. Especially when you're young. I feel like it's really important. I really, I always try to tell my friends, you got to travel as much as you can.
No, I absolutely agree with you, bro. Because the lack of knowledge that you have when you're not exposed to the world,
Yeah.
it like hinders you in all like aspects of life. Like even just to bring it back to business, Tony, right? Incredibly well traveled.
Yeah,
we're speaking to people from all different walks of life.
7 languages,
Yeah,
right?
like 5-7 languages. Crazy. He's talking in depth about people, all areas of France,
beautiful thing.
Lebanon, Europe, Greece. And it's like when you're that worldly, people not only respect, your knowledge, but you're able to empathize and understand people so much more. It's like huge tool.
Yeah, and for me, what was always crazy, and it always happens. I'd never been anywhere, any trip I ever took. At the end of the trip, it's like I'm going back home. Like, I feel like happy to come back home, and it like recharges my batteries, man. It's like I'm excited to come to LA because we get sick of LA.
Yeah,
you're in LA too long, like, oh, I hate this place. But then when you go and you see other cities, we really do live in the best city in the world, man. Even as messed up as it is today, and it's temporary, but we really still do live in the best city in the world. And so
it's incredible.
You refine, you sharpen the saw, I call it. So when you come back, you're just ready to do more, and you're better.
It's funny, you and Jordan actually kind of taught me that. Like when I first started, I really was in the office. I was in the office like 6 days a week.
Shouts to Jordan.
And, yeah, 6 days a week, and I was working a lot. Like in my first couple of years, I really was working a lot.
Yeah.
And it worked out, but I was like, all I was doing was like in the office, and I go out on the weekend and come back, and then the same thing. And I'm like, it's not the lifestyle you want to live. Like you
No.
get so burnt out so quick.
No, you don't want to live that kind of lifestyle, man. What's the point if you don't have fun?
Yeah.
You gotta work hard and play hard.
No, I agree with you. Before I get in trouble, because I wanted to make sure I was understood on the dating thing.
Oh yeah.
I think that the thing that makes it so nice when you do have that person you've chosen, because in reality, you probably have a lot of people that you could have chosen that would make you happy.
Yeah.
But when you choose that person, I feel like it makes it more special. That's what I was trying to say,
Yeah.
just to add a little finesse to it, because
Good.
I felt like that could
I
have
like how
got.
you did that, man.
I felt like
You
I could have
smooth
gotten in trouble.
operator right here.
I could have gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was
I like
feeling.
that.
I started sweating. My
Hey.
senses were tingling. I was like,
Think in
I'm
the
not
back of
here
my
about
head, I
this.
gotta put that in there.
Yeah, I'm
No,
not
you're
here about this.
You're absolutely right, 100%. Definitely, it makes it so much sweeter. It's a beautiful thing, and it's something that hopefully, both of us get to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a goal for sure.
I agree with you.
Definitely.
I like that. So let's say in terms of the brokerage on the brokerage
Sure.
spectrum, what are you trying to accomplish? Within this year, like what I know you set out. You're a goal oriented guy.
Yeah, no, I did. Well, last year my big goal was to get David, who's my best friend, and he's was under me. It was to get him up to speed, and for myself to hit 25 deals, and I was fortunate to do that. Also, I had on the development side as well, but this year really I want to hit 150 million in sales. It's a tall order in today's world, but I'm not a reactive guy. I don't allow market conditions to dictate my results. At the end of the day, I'm not a creature of circumstance. I'll never be a creature of circumstance. I don't make excuses. I'm a creature of habit. I'm proactive. So it's 150 million.
I like that accountability.
Yeah. I read something interesting. Have you ever read the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
It's funny. My buddy that lives here gave it to me as a gift, and I haven't read it.
Oh man,
I
you gotta
haven't
read
it
it. You gotta read it. It's top 5 material. Definitely, it belongs in the top 5. It's on the Mount Rushmore of books. And we talked about the proactive. That's habit number 1 is be proactive. But it's your responsibility to be proactive. And responsibility, if you break it up, your ability to respond. Responsibility. Your ability to respond. That's it's no matter what happens in life, nobody can determine your response. It doesn't matter what the hell happens. You have one thing that you can control. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And so that was always something for me that always stuck with me, is that I know that when I'm acting a fool, it's like, Michael, you're choosing to respond this way. It's not, what happened to you, because you could very well just, pick yourself up, wipe your ass with your feelings and just move on. So.
No, I understand that. I think that's a big one nowadays, because, it's easy to get caught up in, oh man, this happened, so I gotta, but then all while we're doing that, opportunities passing us by continuously.
Constantly, man, constantly. But yeah, to go back what you're saying, that would be my goal. That would be a nice goal, and we'll see what happens. It's early in the year, first quarter.
Yeah.
I'm a fourth quarter guy.
No, I like that.
Check
I mean,
the
you
clock.
guys,
You know what time it is.
You guys are traded LA royalty.
Nah, man,
Yeah.
nah.
Well, if anybody doesn't know, there's like a thing in LA. It's like if you sell a building or a home or something like that, there's an account called Traded LA on Instagram. Shout out Traded. You guys are all over the comps.
Yeah, I mean it's a good marketing tool, but I feel like nowadays people just want to just be on there.
I feel like it's more for the brokers, than the buyers or sellers.
Yeah, it definitely is. But also it's I've done deals from it.
Really?
So yeah, at first I was like when it first came out I was like, okay, people are just doing this just to
You did deals from it?
Yeah, I've gotten deals from it for
Oh
sure.
shoot!
For sure.
Dang, honestly, I've never uploaded my. I feel like I should now.
Definitely should. Absolutely. Things
Oh
come.
shoot!
You know,
Dang,
people
I
reach
didn't know
out.
that.
Hey, I saw you sold this. I got something similar. You know,
Huh?
not a whole lot of deals, but
No, but still, you're
pays
increasing
for
your
itself.
opportunity. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
should
what's
do that,
marketing.
okay.
Get to write it off.
that's smart. I never knew that. I honestly, I thought it was more so for like broker. Like if let's say you have a deal, you know, a broker, you want to, hey, let's collab on this. Like, you know, I have somebody, blah 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 blah. But if you're getting deals from it,
Yeah, buyers. There's a good amount of buyers that look up on it. Yeah.
oh shoot.
I mean, everybody has Instagram these days. so,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know.
I
But
think.
it's
Do
hella
you guys?
distracting. Instagram.
It is. But I mean, you guys use it for your deals, like the listings that you have, and
No, I don't really have a page that does that. You know, I don't have a marketing for it that does that. I just, at the end of the day, it's more organic. It's just, you know, I feel like the trade in LA is enough as it is. I don't think you need any more. And I just stick to the basics, man. I stick to the fundamentals. You know, just ABC.
keep it old school. Yeah.
ABC.
No, it's funny. We when we're with Tony, because he's the same way. He's like, wow, the wheel's working.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's funny because now you see a lot of people with the team pages, and you know. So I don't know what is obviously what has worked for years will continue to work,
Sure.
but what expanding on it looks like, I don't know.
Well, you know, I think also Tony and you know the other guys that you know the old school guys, they have their relationships that they're formed with their guys, and like those are their guys.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like they don't really need to like be in like the younger scene, but for younger guys, building new relationships with the up and coming buyers, I feel like that's where the social media could be a benefit. But there's a certain level capacity to it. You can't just overdo it. I feel like if you're spending all the time, marketing it on that.
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
At the end of the day, I think an email blast to your database is more effective than uploading something to your story.
Yeah,
right?
no, I agree with you. So what do you think, aside from, being able to cold call, what do you think that edges that you guys have? Because you're doing more business statistically than most other brokers, especially our age, or teams. What do you think your edge is that sets you apart?
I mean, I don't want to sound like
Sound, whatever it is.
honestly, I just feel like if I'm in the room with somebody and they have like some sort of motivation, I feel like I could get it out of them and make it happen. It's I kind of developed it when I was like 26, 27, my third year in the business. I was like, okay, I know I've seen enough. I've failed a good amount. I know what I'm doing now, and now it's just like I feel like I know the questions to ask. I can just kind of read people, and just like I could just understand. Okay, this person is like motivated or not, and if they are, like I know like the questions to ask and the situations to put ourselves in that would result in me walking out of the room with a signature.
So, okay, with that being said, explain, let's say you're talking to me, I have no understanding of brokerage, finding motivation and being able to assess that. Can you explain that for people? Sorry, it's just a cat. It's
That's
one
a
of the
nice
cats.
cat, man.
Yeah, it's one of the family cats. Can you
How to assess motivation?
Yeah, and like what is that and
Sure.
why is it important in
Oh
our
yeah,
business?
sure. So motivation is it's really everything. You don't want to meet with someone that just wants to just pick your brain and just get an analysis. An analysis is when we do like a market evaluation for somebody. It takes time to put these things together. Like I said, your time is the most important asset you don't own. So you want to be able to qualify the prospect if they're a suspect or if they're a prospect. You got to ask the right questions. So good motivation would be a death in the family, a divorce, a partnership dispute.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The unfortunate things that happen are the things that lead to motivation. It is unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately. Right now, a great motivational tool is that in April of 2023, if a property sells over $5 million or $10 million, there's a certain tax. So right now, we're kind of saying, hey, listen, if you want to sell before that, you'll save the 5%, 4.5% tax. That's a motivational. But I feel like I learned this at a young age. You can't create motivation. It has to be there.
Yeah.
if you force it,
Wasting your time.
it really are, because at the end of the day, it's like these guys, they own these buildings. Some of these people own these buildings 40, 50 years, man. Some of them, their grandparents built it for them, and it's in their family legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've sold I've sold 100 deals in my life. So, and probably 80 of them have been generational, planning, that they said we're never going to sell it, and I don't know how we sold it. So I've done a lot of that. It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
And so there really needs to be a motivation in it. And really, my main thing that I probe is I ask them, I say, hey, listen, what if I can show you a way that I can increase your cash flow, 30 to 40%? Would that be something you're interested in? And they say, well, how are you going to do that? Well, I say, Jasmine, you got your money in the bank right now. It's giving you, 2.5%. The property would be the bank, for example. You got your equity in the bank, giving you 2.5%. Well, what if I took that equity and I put it in another bank and gave you 5%? Double the cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to show you. How does Wednesday work?
Take my money right now. No, it's a very true.
Oh, it definitely is.
It's a very true thing.
Definitely is, man. Absolutely. There's a big opportunity to be had. Also, then there's taxes too. There's tax implications. Maybe they've owned the asset for more than 27 and a half years, so they're out of depreciation. Mm-hmm. And depreciation is very big in real estate. That's how you get to, shelter your tax income. So if the property's out of depreciation, you can discuss that. Mm-hmm. You have a whole lot of ways to skin the cat.
What is depreciation? And I'm doing this because I literally the other day I looked into like the analytics of people that are watching like the podcast, and a lot of them are people our age.
Yeah, sure.
Probably not involved.
I'd love to elaborate on it.
Yeah.
So let's say you buy a house or a piece of property that's $1 million. On that tax code, on the assessor, it's going to say land. Call it 55-60%. Let's call it 50%. Mm. So 50% of it is land, right? Land cannot be depreciated. But this structure, this improvement, this is called the improvement. The actual physical structure is the improvement. That can be depreciated. So 50% of that million for the improvement is $500,000. Mm-hmm. And so there's a law, it's called cost segregation, accelerated depreciation. Instead of waiting 28 and a half years, 27 and a half years to use that $500,000, you can use that up to, 2 years, 1 year. So if somebody made, $500,000 and they bought a house for, or it should be an income property for $1 million, they could take that $500,000 and literally deduct it off their income, and they pay zero in taxes. Mm-hmm. And this is legal. Mm-hmm. It's completely legal.
Yeah, literally, it's really crazy. Like, and I say that because Fred is the one that introduced me to Tony, who got me into the business.
Right.
And the knowledge that I've gotten from being in this business is life and generational changing information.
It's like, why don't they teach this stuff in school?
Bro.
Like Francis Bacon?
It's insane.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's insane. Like, why, why?
I don't know.
And we're really lucky to be in the position because a lot of people could benefit off of the extra information in their lives.
Everybody, man. Everybody. It's so important. It's so crucial. We're fortunate to have learned this stuff.
Yeah.
Imagine not knowing it.
Bro, I'm serious. I kid you not. Literally, I can't even stress this enough. When I graduated college, I didn't know that you could own an apartment building. Like, it wasn't in my scope of reality. I grew up in apartment buildings.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could
own them. So what do you own them?
I had no idea. It wasn't in my head.
You were paying a landlord.
Yeah, I was paying the landlord, but if you think about it,
it didn't register in your mind.
Never registered in my reality that I could be that guy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It was
it's kind of crazy. It really is. They should be teaching this stuff in school, and they're not. Even me, I studied real estate development at USC, which is an amazing school. I come out, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. I don't even know nothing.
Yeah.
They don't teach.
It's a lot of glossary terms.
You have nice guest speakers with the fancy suits, but at the end of the day, it's what did you really learn? I learned the most by going out in the field, getting experience, and school of hard knocks.
Yeah.
That's what taught me.
And that's what I think makes us as brokers so pivotal.
Sure.
Is because, yeah, at the end of the day, anybody could sell their own building or their own property or represent themselves on a purchase. But the information and the knowledge that you get by doing this day in and day out, putting in the work, put in the steps to get from one means to another, it's like it's unmeasurable.
Yeah, and then once you learn the game and then you become good at it, and then you start doing deals with the players, you ask them, and then
Hey,
they
what do
teach you.
Yeah.
And then those are guys that are doing X amount of dollars, and you're like, wait, well, if he could do it, well, I could do it too.
Exactly.
It's not like the guy's better than me.
You have to have that mentality, I think.
I think that's the basic rule of life. It's the most important thing in the world. If I could ever teach anybody one thing, if he or she could do it, so can I. I mean, unless you're like a 6'7" basketball player, that's a different kind of a.
Bro, just get your knees done.
LeBron James right here.
Get your knees done. You'll be fine.
There you go.
We're in LA.
Hey, right? You're probably gonna get that too. But I mean, look, if it's so simple, it really is. I mean, it's not rocket science.
I agree with you.
But I like the fact that you're asking me to elaborate and.
No, absolutely. Because I imagine like, and I know, for instance, I had one of my other buddies on here, and he's an artist,
Sure.
right? And he's really dope guy. And he was telling me on the podcast, he was like, yeah, I was thinking about getting into real estate, and and I know a lot of people that are from like back home, like back in the Bay. That pick my brain and hit me up sometimes about, hey, should I do this or should I do that,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to expand the podcast and have people in real estate on it because there's so much knowledge that, to be honest, people that are like me and how you grew up, you didn't grow up with that same understanding as someone who had people in real estate around them or grew up in maybe a more affluent situation, or at least a situation where they were provided with more knowledge.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I love, getting in depth and allowing someone maybe the opportunity. Literally, one thing that you said multiple huge diamonds on the podcast, but who knows, maybe somebody picks one thing and you change their life because of it. Because
that'd be
realistically,
Yeah.
there's an opportunity there for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we would love to inspire. I feel like it's our duty to give back and inspire. And, the knowledge that we know, knowledge is so beautiful. It's like fire. You can just, put it onto another candle, and then that candle can go light someone else's candle. So it's like light. And I just, would love to. I mean, I'm so happy that you told me to come and be on this,
Bro.
be on the podcast.
I feel like you're perfect for it.
Oh, thank you.
Your dynamic personality, very knowledgeable. You're great at what we do. It's
Thank
like
you,
a
man.
no-brainer.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And you're a good host, man. I like the way you navigate things.
I appreciate you.
You got a
Thank you.
knack for it.
Thank you. I'm hoping that this passion will continue to grow and stuff, because like I love the space that I'm in brokerage now. Like
Right.
I'm in a good spot. I got great people around me.
Yeah.
We have like amazing setup, infrastructure. Like I really enjoy it.
Great.
But I did want another outlet that I could
It's beautiful.
couple it with.
Yeah, it's a hobby. I mean, it's a beautiful hobby too.
Yeah.
Because you get to like interview all kinds of people.
Yeah, and I get to learn so much.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And I saw you doing it. I was like, damn, this is cool. And I got so thrilled when you asked me to come on. So.
Nah, dude, it's my pleasure.
Especially these days with brokerage being crazy as it is.
Yeah.
We need a little bit of a break.
Yeah, no, like I think you really do. If you want to stay in it, you don't give yourself another ulcer. It's like we need to.
No more of
We
that.
need balance in our lives.
Yeah, you got to have balance. What do they say? Work-life balance.
Yeah. Before we end too, as the business starts to get a lot harder, you see a lot of jokes and a lot of things in the area. Like people say, oh yeah, I don't know if you've seen like online, they're like videos or memes or whatever about, brokers that got into business in 2021 thinking that it was going to be easy, are all quitting and stuff. Obviously there's a lot of truth to it, because, I've only been in the business 4.5, 5 years now.
Yeah.
And from when I first started to now, a lot harder to navigate the waters, get
Really
deals
hard.
done.
Yeah.
So how are you going forward? You're being picky about the listings that you take.
Sure.
Do you have any advice for not only myself, but other brokers in the business, to navigate kind of these harsher waters that we're getting into?
Yeah, I mean, I would really say, don't take overpriced listings. I really would say I think those opportunities are going to come up. Really just qualify the candidate very, very well, um, and just understand it, price it right, and don't be afraid to say no. Take some vitamin N. Say no. It's going to be tempting. I see it in the market today is full of supply. There's a lot of deals out there, and they're just sitting there stagnant. And more price reductions just keep coming. So, I would say, for the younger brokers especially, time is really valuable, and so, the worst thing is to take a listing and work on it, and it doesn't sell. It's just a waste of time. You're better off prospecting for new business. So, I would say really just be really picky. Work on something that it's like, okay, would I buy this myself?
Yeah.
Is this have potential? Is this a good deal? If that's good, then yes. And then also just stick to the fundamentals of in your area. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to start up a new thing and just jump from Silver Lake to Mar Vista, from Mar Vista to Santa Monica. Stay in one little area and just and control that hub. Over time, it'll work out.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I
it
agree with you.
really will. It's old school, man, but it works. It really does.
We've seen it. I mean, we see the guys every single day.
Yeah, I mean, also a lot of that is it's they've been after those deals for 5, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years. A lot of those people, it's you plant the seeds.
Yeah.
Maybe you're doing something today that may not result in a sale today, but maybe it might in 2 years from now. The good quality people, spend your time with those people, and you can adjust. You can assess that really well. So that's my advice: it's delayed gratification.
I agree with you. Well, do you want to end on anything else? Do you want to speak about maybe your brokers? I mean, we're technically competitors, but I think you're great.
Oh,
and
you're great.
If you want to say anything or end on anything, just a little message out there. Anything
Well,
like that.
I want to say, I just want to give one little piece. I feel like a lot of people, you said about the brokerage thing. I just want to end on one little thing. People in like year 5, 6, 7, 8, there's a sort of like entitlement state of mind, and I just think it's really dangerous. I think entitlement is the most dangerous thing, man. It brings forth complacency, and complacency gets you stagnant both mentally and physically, and so that's just a recipe for disaster. Even us in our still early years, but we're kind of like set up. We're defined well. We still need to keep doing what we were doing before. We still got a lot of dues to pay.
Absolutely.
By no means are we supposed to take it easy at this point. If we were working hard before, we still gotta put in our work. So I'll just end it off with that, and I want to wish everybody a wonderful week.
I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, man.
Happy to have you.